here we are. This is S.x Love Psychedelics, and I'm your host, Dr. Kat, bringing you psychosexual conversations that will leave you intellectually turned on and hungry for more.
You and I had a conversation last week when we were laying out in the sun. I was trying to get tan and the one sunshine day that we had in Los Angeles. But we were having this amazing conversation around different cultures around the world and their solutions towards sexual health, using plants, using herbs. And I was so fascinated with what you were sharing, because I'm on this trajectory of S.x Love Psychedelics and plant medicines. And so to even hear from you, the medicines that different plants can provide us, that other cultures also found that sexual health was really important. So maybe you can share with our listeners some of what we talked about there, what your research found.
Yeah. So, I mean, part of what's interesting is like there's these systems of medicine, right, that are non-Western, traditional Chinese medicine, Ayurveda. Those are the oldest systems of medicine in the world. And in each region of the world, there are plants, herbs, spices, trees that provide medicinal value, right? And so there's this ancient wisdom that we have on the planet. Depending on where you're from. I mean, in the United States, there's sort of the least amount of that, and it's obviously the newest culture. But I mean, TCM has been around traditional Chinese medicine has been around for thousands of years, as well as Ayurveda. And even in like South America, there's amazing, plant medicine that comes from there, but also herbs and, mucuna and things like that. And in the Caribbean. So each area has their own, sort of like local type stuff that's going to help them, right? Because like sexual function is, it's something that's been impactful for a really long time. Everyone seems to be really interested in, right? Sexuality is so important and pervasive in our culture. And so as you're researching these herbs and things like that, like you find that there are similar herbs that have similar types of effects across these different systems, but they're just in different places because they grow in different, climates. The ashwagandha is that and things like that are in, in Ayurveda versus like the castanche, which is sort of like a complement to that, but in the Chinese herbal, realm, or mucuna, purians, from South America, or like the ones from Jamaica that I've recently discovered, like strongback and granny backbone. And I mean, they have some really amazing monkey ladder. They have these wild herbs that, in these places. And so you can really dive in and explore. And it's kind of fun because it's almost like figuring out which one resonates with you. Obviously some of them have much longer histories around them that they, TCM and Ayurveda both are sort of like the most, sort of the longest traditions. But at the same time, like, herbs are herbs and really powerful. A new one that's interesting that's come in is Fedosia agrestis, which I believe is from Africa, which helps to reduce SHBG, which is like, that's the thing about creating more available testosterone. So my stuff is mostly TCM based. So it's based off of Chinese medicine. But I do research and, try products across the board.
I love that. Yeah, it's developing these relationships with plants that have so many of these unique properties that it's creating a synergy with ourselves and the world, the earth, that I find really, really important for us.
The other thing too to remember is that every pharmaceutical drug has its origin, for the most part, in a plant. You know what I mean? Like they take out they take out a part of it and then they manipulate it, but it's all coming from the earth in some capacity. You know what I mean? And so the herbal route is just that we don't really manipulate it. You take it out, you harvest it in the proper way, and then you blend it, right? The blending is really key. But pharmaceutical drugs, like they come from that. You know what I mean? And so they're all searching for the same stuff. And so when you find an herb and that really works and is effective, generally what happens is pharmaceutical company is like going to come in and try to like do as much work as they can to like patent it into a drug. You know what I mean? And that's their model. So
yeah. Profits. How can we extract and make profit? Yeah, for sure.
Well, that was fun. Thanks for tuning in, lovers. And if you want to experience more ecstasy and sexual liberation, head over to s.xlovepsychedelics.com and learn about how you can join me for any one of my online or live events. And while you're there, grab my free guide on sex and psychedelics. Remember, this podcast is for entertainment and educational purposes only. Please contact your healthcare provider and local law before pursuing any of the products or psychedelics discussed. And one final note here. I make this show specifically for you. If you're loving the show, then be sure to leave me a review in iTunes or Spotify to let me know. Happy to be here and happy to serve. I'll see you next time on S.x Love Psychedelics.